And we're back, rolling through the day. Alliance versus Team Liquid, our first all-Western matchup of the evening. Now, Alliance, a team we haven't had a chance to cast in a while. Hell, I haven't had a chance to cast Alliance since D2L Season 3. Team Liquid, though, a team we've had a great chance to look at throughout these early preliminary stages. And really, Liquid has been up and down. We saw them look absolutely brilliant in netting a win against Tongfu yesterday. Alliance doing quite well for themselves. However, this is a matchup that I actually think can be troublesome for Alliance, as we've seen in the past. I'm your host, AC, joined by Draskell for the broadcast. And yeah, these two teams know each other quite well, going all the way back to the days of No Tide Hunter before they started rocking the big A shield. Team Liquid, again, I haven't seen them play today, have no idea, or excuse me, haven't seen them play the way that they did that they used to whenever they had their most success until just recently. Again, seeing how good they could look throughout these preliminary stages has really shown that this team is a team that's there to win, and they're going to get their hands on an IO once again. Now, we're beginning to see IO slip through more often than not. Alliance gonna have, nope, no Lone Druid, is actually gonna say. It looks like poor Bulldog gonna be relegated to using Prophet, as I would imagine. One of these first picks will be spent on them, but Alliance and Liquid, both two teams known for their creative drafting.
Yeah, I think Alliance, they've started to open up a little bit in terms of what they like to pick. They've known to pick things like PA, especially. That's one of the heroes they were known for kind of bringing into the competitive scene. Didn't really catch on in terms of other teams picking it, but they have made it work a couple of times themselves. And I do agree with the Nature's Prophet pick. It's something that Alliance always start out with, usually, because A, there's not really a whole lot of offlaners that can jungle, and it's one of the only heroes that Admiral Bulldog plays, so you kind of have to pick it in this case. But they're thinking about it, so we'll see what they're going to pick here. And they might decide to skip it entirely, and they are going to go with a Naga Siren first pick, actually, which is pretty strange. We've seen Naga Siren in the first, I would say, 3 or 4 picks periodically, but no one's really prioritized her this highly yet. At least I've never seen her immediately first picked after the Wisp pickup here from Team Liquid. But it is really nice because you can preemptively Song of the Siren when you see a Wisp teleport, and you can stop the initiation from coming in, which is really good, and then you can just turn it around on them.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's kind of the Naga Siren, I think, is a pick that is going to be utilized more and more in the face of IO. And it's become one of those things where IO has been first pick, first ban status for a very long time. I mean, I can remember back when there was a debate about whether it was just Western teams not being good enough to deal with an IO correctly, and for a while it was considered almost common knowledge that the Eastern teams, the Chinese teams in particular, were just so good, and they're they never made mistakes that would allow IO to be valuable. But then we were proven that was not true at all, and IO has still maintained that status. So as teams continue to try and figure out exactly what it takes to make that hero no longer that feared, the Naga Siren strikes me as a very good answer, and we've seen it work that way already. In fact, Naga Siren, as you had mentioned, I mean, her ability to just reverse the fortune or to get you out of trouble. And now with the Gyrocopter, one of the few teams that can't overlap his ultimate really well, or one of the few heroes that can overlap his ultimate really well with Song of the Siren. Liquid, with this next pickup, I think is going to show us a bit of their complexion. We already saw Liquid have quite a bit, a little bit of success, little smidgen maybe of success picking the bear. Ursa. Don't know that they'll go ahead and spin that pick on this now, but I wouldn't put it past Alliance if Liquid doesn't pick it and instead pick some kind of a support or something like that. I wouldn't put it past Alliance at all to just give them the nod and say, no, we saw what you could do, or we at least heard about it if we didn't see it, and we're not about to let that happen again.
Well, Ursa here, I'm not entirely sure if I like it, just because there's an ensnare on the other team, and there's a song. So, say the Ursa goes for the patented Rush BKB, and the Naga Siren songs and then nets you, and you're stuck, and you're BKB'd by yourself, and the rest of your team can't help you. That sounds like a nightmare for an Ursa. I'm not saying that they won't pick it for sure, but it doesn't sound like something that I think Liquid would want to partner with. Maybe they'll take something else like a CK. I think that's much more reasonable, because even if you do get ensnared, you can still stun, and you can still Reality Rift and pull somebody to you, so you can actually stick on a target. But it looks like one more for here for Team Liquid. We'll see what the choice is going to be. For Alliance, though, I mean, that combo alone, just being able to set up cooldowns really easily with the song, and of course it already being an 8 counter to the Wisp, I think they've started themselves off pretty solidly here. But yep, they are going to pick the CK, so it was kind of the obvious choice. I mean, I love watching Ursa, and I think he does a tremendous amount of damage, and it's pretty good against Gyro, actually. But the Naga Siren's just too big of a deterrent to warrant picking him here.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, it's a really good thought. I mean, and again, Naga That's one reason she slipped back into the meta. She just
10
deals with,
seconds
and I kind of touched on this before. You know, there's so many heroes.
5
Gyrocopter,
seconds
even in his
remaining.
heyday, now not as popular, still gets seen, gets banned, picked and banned fairly frequently.
Reserve time.
But it's a BKB hero, a hero that is going to get a BKB. And Naga, for all that she gives you in the laning phase, her flexibility, her versatility, the fact that she can be run as a support that can transition into an off-carry role if the game gets into the ultra late game and contribute that way. The ensnare really is what characterizes the hero, as well as Song of the Siren, which, you know, again, is just the perfect answer for any team composition that is entirely reliant on Chain of Initiation and on getting the jump on you.
Alliances
So
turn to
we'll see what
ban.
they want to pair up with it. Already, I like Alliance's
Team
front two.
Liquid's
I
turn
think,
to
you know,
ban.
Gyrocopter does really well with just dealing with aggression that comes at you that way as well, because cooldown is so difficult to engage through. If you misjudge it, mistime it, or you just flat out don't expect it, you will be slowed. You will end up grouping and bunching up during that
10
small duration of
seconds
slow.
remaining.
And yeah, that's a good way to just shut down a CK. CK, even with
5
Reality Rift, that
seconds
it
remaining.
has a cooldown. You know, he just like many heroes, CK much a slave to his cooldowns.
time.
And after using Reality Rift, if he's slowed down and kited, it can be an effective way of solving that problem. So we won't be seeing any of the junglers given away to Alliance. Probably a good call, as Ake, last I heard, does pretty well on our
Alliances turn to ban.
four-legged heroes that tend to spend their time hanging out in the jungle.
Yeah, he's known as one of the best Shen players pretty much ever. Like, Ake's Shen is insane. So, Alliance, they've got a couple of choices here they can make. Is it going to be the support Naga? Is it going to
10
be
seconds
the
remaining.
farming Naga Siren? We have yet to see. I think it's probably going to be
5
farming.
seconds
But then
remaining.
again, with the Gyrocopter pickup, we've seen that tri-lane actually today, I believe, where the Gyrocopter was in the farm role, and then the Naga
Reserve
Siren has
time.
played support, and they tried to isolate people using Ensnare and go for Rocket Barrage kills, so that's also a distinct possibility. But there's a lot to be decided here for Team Liquid. Do they want to run the aggressive tri-lane? Do they want to actually pick up the Bane and try to do something like
Alliances
that? It
turn
looks
to
like
pick.
Alliance are actually going to take out the Ancient Apparition, which is a hero that we haven't got a chance to see a whole lot, but it does partner very, very well with CK, because Chaos Bolt typically guarantees that you're going to get that Cold Feet proc, of course, or you can hack just even Reality Rift, and then Chilling Touch on top of that makes your team fight just ridiculous in terms of your right clicks basically become nukes, and that's pretty darn good. So Alliance, they're looking to pick up another one right here.
10
They still
seconds
potentially need a
remaining.
mid. They're going to need a support at the very least, and of course Bulldog's hero.
5
So we'll see which
seconds
one they're going to be
remaining.
giving him. And like you were mentioning earlier, the Nature's Prophet still is available. Of course, things like Bounty
Reserve time.
are also a choice here. And I actually kind of like Bounty against teams with CK Wisp, because they don't really 5-man that much. They kind of try to split the map, and against a team with a Bounty Hunter, that's actually to your advantage. So we'll see what the choice they're going to make is.
I like the fact that Liquid did opt to go ahead and ban the Darkseer out instead of the Nature's Prophet. With the two heroes Alliance has already showed us up front, the Naga Siren and the Gyrocopter. That's just, I mean, a more high-value hero. I would argue that as good as Bulldog
10
is on the
seconds
Darkseer, he is a
remaining.
much better Nature's Prophet. I mean, he's legendary for his Lone Druid, but he's extremely
5
feared for his
seconds
Prophet.
remaining.
Darkseer, again, excellent on the hero, and yeah, I don't think there's any surprise there
Team
whatsoever to
Liquid's
anyone who's
turn
ever
to
watched
pick.
Alliance play Dota. But Darkseer being able to vacuum into call down synergy on top of Naga Siren, Song of the Siren, yeah, it's just, that was the right call to make, even with the knowledge that they're now going to have to deal with one of the best Prophet players on the planet. So Liquid, again, looking to show us what they're going to grab available, something they absolutely love to run. They're still looking for Korok's hero as well. There it is, the Visage. So, yeah, these two teams, if anything, they can be
Alliances turn to
predictable at times.
A little bit. I mean, Visage is a reasonable pick here, though, because the burst damage between the Wisp Spirits and the CK is enough to warrant picking a hero like Visage, because it gives you that much more charges on your Soul Assumption, so you can go for a quick kill. So they might actually still run this aggressively, just because Visage works quite well in that situation, but against Alliance tri-lane so far, we haven't seen what their second
seconds
support's going to be yet. We're assuming the Naga supporting, and we're assuming the Gyrocopter is going to be
5
carrying. So
seconds
that means
remaining.
Nature's Prophet off lane, they need S4's hero, and they potentially need Ake's hero, I would
Reserve
assume.
time.
I'm assuming. Oh, yeah, there we go. We're going to see the puck. I was going to say, they probably need an initiator, because right now they don't really have any. Naga Siren Song can be a tool for initiation, but more often than not, it's a reset button, so you don't actually just straight up lose a fight, and they're going to be using it more often than not to stop those Wisp teleports. So I do like that. There's S4's hero, and of course, we're going to be looking at one more here. So Ake probably going to be the one who's going to be playing this one. I think EGM plays Naga for Alliance, if I'm not mistaken, if it's going to be support. But I really do like Alliance's draft. They have the capability of picking and choosing their fights. They also have the choice of pulling the map apart if they want to. But I think Liquid can kind of do the same thing, just to a lesser extent.
Dragon Knight the pickup for Team Liquid in 4th position. I like that here, but I still feel like they really need something. I mean, like you said, when you look at Alliance, Alliance has built this lineup that is going. It's a lineup that can function quite well, being split apart a little bit. Nature's Prophet obviously is a very mobile hero, and Puck, of course, one of the most survivable and one of the most difficult to just flat out catch out and kill heroes in the entire game once he gets up 1 or 2 core items. Alliance does go ahead and ban the Bounty Hunter, which that's kind of my thing with Liquid. Liquid either needs to go all in on the idea of just we're going to start taking fights like we did the last time we tried to. I mean, they tried to do it twice, and the last time we saw them. But the first time didn't work out with the CK, second time it did with the Ursa. They either need to go all in on the idea like they did before, or they need to go ahead and try to shore up one of their big weaknesses, which is counter initiation. Their lockdown is not that impressive. They have Tether Stun, which is nice. They have two single target lockdowns at Dragon Tail and in Chaos Bolt, and if you're lucky with Visage and you're able to get your familiars in a position to maybe stun 1 or 2 heroes by burrowing them, that helps out a ton as well. But I still feel like they need some sort of a team fight hero. The problem is, where do you put it? The off lane would seem to be what's available unless they want to try and run an offensive tri lane that's in Dragon Knight mid. That would, of course, free things up. A hero that could fit in well here, I mean, and when you look at this, Bulba could end up playing a Tinker here. I think a Tinker would actually help them a lot in trying to take some of the bigger team fights. There's going to be the Crystal Maiden pickup for Alliance, so that last support rounding out the lineup. But yeah, when I look at this, maybe even a Clockwork. Clockwork's still available, and that's a hero that I think could really fit in well with their lineup, especially if they wanted to dedicate a solo lane to it by offensively tri-laning with the Visage, CK, and IO. Clock's just one of those heroes. If he gets off to a good start, if he's able to get his farm and able to get his gold and it gets a Nature's Prophet, he most certainly would be able to do that. He can just take a game over. And Liquid, very trusting. Yep, there it is, the Clockwork. So that makes a ton of sense to me. And Bulba, one of the best Clockworks you're ever going to see in the West.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be an aggressive try from Liquid. That makes the most sense to me, because the thing is, if you offlane the Clockwork here, you're kind of sentencing him to doom. Like, he's not really going to accomplish anything. He's going to be underleveled, and he's really not going to accomplish what you want him to. Against a solo Nature's Prophet, we've actually, I think, seen this matchup already today once. The Nature's Prophet's going to edge him out a bit, especially once he starts to get his phase boots, but he's still going to be able to get experience. He'll be able to hook in, initiate, and things like that. The one thing that is kind of a bummer, though, about Clockwork against Alliance's lineup is he's very susceptible to dying in his own cogs. And what I mean by that is, if you cog and you get called down and you get ensnared inside of your cogs, it's actually almost just as hard for you to get out as your opponent.
Right.
And there's a lot of range damage on the side of Alliance. I mean, you're talking about, well, 4 ranged heroes first and foremost, and then Crystal Maiden, who can nuke you from long distance. You have Call Down, Puck Coil, Orb. There's so many things they can do to just kite him out that I kind of worry that this pick might backfire a tiny bit, and they are giving him a ton of regeneration to make sure that he can lane against that Prophet, who's most likely going to be going into the offlane. But I think it's still a pretty close draft either way. I think the later the game goes, Alliance are probably going to start to pull a bit ahead, just because their secondary core in this case, which is Prophet, is going to be able to split push a lot better than I think Liquid will be able to handle.
Yep.
But on the flip side, they're also always going to have a Wisp teleport to deal with the Prophet if they have to.
Right.
So I don't know. I think this game is actually pretty darn close in terms of just picks.
Oh, I agree. And what a lot of this could end up coming down to, really, is just how effective the Crystal Maiden is going to be early on. You know, and I agree with you going late, but whenever you draft a CM, unless you just get stupidly ahead, I mean, I can remember a game I saw of Na'Vi, and they had a Crystal Maiden that just, for whatever reason, was just getting kill after kill after kill, and ended up having like 2,200 health at like 3 minutes or 30 minutes in for some, you know, like Puppy. The way Puppy was playing her, just built her like crazy good. But at any rate, even aside from that, getting a lot of mileage out of the Crystal Maiden going to be a big determining factor here. But at the same time, I do love the fact that Alliance has the Ensnare to deal with 2 BKB heroes in the DK and in the CK. And again, we've talked about that quite a bit. That's one of the biggest things she can contribute. I agree wholeheartedly with your point about Bulba. I think a Force Staff is going to have to be one of his first items to make sure he can feel as effective and survivable in bigger fights as he should.
Yeah, if he doesn't get a mobility item or get something, then he's going to be hurting for sure. And we could see a really early fight here.
EGM's got eyes on him, and they're going to go for it. There's a tether stun. EGM walks right into it. Korok eating a lot of damage. Could end up being the first blood. Can they get him? One more auto attack. Not enough. They're going to continue to chase him. Puck's Orb will be the first blood. Mike, next on the list. That's 0 for 2, and they're not done. Trying to chase him out. Down go the cogs from Bulba. That's going to disjoint things, but Loda's not done. He actually checked that. He is, because he bit off a bit more than he can chew. S4 chasing him down. That's a double kill for Puck to lead this game off, and Bulba finally will be the one to turn and leave. So we're not even a minute into the game. The creeps have barely gotten to know each other in any of the lanes, and we've got 4 kills on the board. Great way to start if you're an Alliance fan.
That's so bad for Liquid because now, because of the fact that Korok ended up dying, he used his salve, and he's against the tri-lane that he just died to. Alliance already has level 2 heroes in their tri-lane. Loda's level 2, EGM's level 2, Ake is almost level 2, which means that the Crystal Maiden level 2 is one of the strongest level 2 supports pretty much in the game, just because of her spell set, and then you already have Ensnare and Riptide on AGM. It's going to be so hard for Liquid to recover in this lane innately because they're playing with a Wisp, and they're a level behind. This is so bad for Liquid.
Here in mid, S4 certainly the beneficiary of a double kill. Things not going to be all that easy on TC. TC's certainly going to be able to hold his own for a while, but with S4 getting that kind of a start, he already has his bottle up. He's got plenty of regen and 500 gold aside. He's going to be quite happy with the way this early game is treating him. Bulba zoning Bulldog out, at least for the moment. Now, one thing that I do want to watch and do want to mention is talking to Bulba about Clockwork. Listening to Bulba talk about Clockwork is just fascinating, by the way. Like, the insights he has just from where he did just make such a study of this hero. Against the Nature's Prophet in particular, but also any melee hero or any hero he feels like he'll have a chance to run down. At level 3 to 4, he has said multiple times that if at level 3 to 4, if I catch a hero in cogs, the way I build my Clockwork, I will get a kill every single time. So it's something Bulldog's going to have to be very wary of. He's going to have to make sure he manages his health correctly, doesn't allow his health to get too low to make it even easier than it could be. But Bulldog, of course, one of the best in the business. And I remember talking to, see, who was it? It was Puppy, actually, talking to Puppy about Bulldog and, you know, what makes him such a standout player. And the way he summed it up was just, you know, Bulldog's a grinded out guy. He's a guy who doesn't know things intuitively or instinctually. It's just that he loves the game so much and plays so much Prophet and so much Druid, not just in a competitive setting, but everywhere else. Hold on, we're going to have a reality rift on the EGM. Try to follow it up, 1 second Chaos Bolt, but the damage is there. Korok taking a lot of damage, and we're going to see Gyro actually managing to pick off IO with the flat cannon. It's a flat cannon shot. He wasn't even focusing the IO. He was focusing the CK instead. And already we see Korok being run completely out of the lane back to the base. The rich get richer, and Alliance keeps it rolling, make it 4-1.
Yeah, this lane is incredibly lost for Liquid. They have, like, no chance anymore. And I'm pretty sure this poor Visage is going to get dove, and EGM has, like, heat-seeking because he just walks right into him.
Bluffing stuff. Gives him a love tap, kiss on the cheek on the way out the door, but that makes it 5-1. And Alliance is, I think they're doing all right. I think they're hanging in.
Yeah, you know, give or take, your carry has 3 kills at 3 minutes into the game and 2 assists.
Yeah.
I think you're doing all right. And the sad part is, ever since they did that dive, the lane's even going to be pushing back too, so Liquid are even in a worse spot. So not only are they down in kills, but they can't really even go to the creep wave anymore because Alliance are going to have such a huge level lead. I mean, level 3 on the CM and the Naga Siren, who's about to hit 4, and level 4 on Loda, and the Wisp is level 2, and the Visage is level 2, and the CK is level 2. That is a massive experience lead, and it's definitely not going to help that S4 is getting one of the heroes that he's known for in the middle lane. He also started off with 2 kills, and he's going to be level 6 soon. And the thing about this is that normally you would have the Puck teleport to the lane where the tri-lane is to be able to go for kills, but he doesn't even have to because the tri-lane is crushing on its own.
And you can see Liquid, really the only thing they can reliably do is try to take jungle creeps, but Alliance not even going to give him that. There's an Ensnare on the Korok, and just look at his health melt. 2 second Chaos Bolt, but the Rocket Barrage damage is just too big. It's too much. And yeah, I mean, at this point, they have to do something. I just don't know what it is. It's so early that even rotations aren't really something all that likely. Another Ensnare. Mike's going to make it 7-1. Here comes the TP back in. Fluff is there trying to pound on Ake. S4 is just going to get a killing spree elsewhere as we watch the madness that is this bottom lane. And yeah, S4 limping 6 HP. Really? He has 6 HP. 10 down.
I think it was more like 2 or 3. That's how low he was. And oh, goodbye, Fluff or Korok, whoever they decide to go for.
I don't even know what to tell them. They're just what can you do? They're standing under the tower, killing them as they teleport in. There's literally nothing that can be done at this point. At some point, maybe they'll have to fall back and regen, but, I mean, for frick's sake, man, Lotus still got a salve. He's not going to have any problems. Ake still has 2 tangos. And, you know, I mean, Bulldog's here now. It's going to be the death of a tier 1. And then if they want, they can try to suck the Equilibrium back. And I don't know what Korok can do. Like, this is... Okay, never mind. S4, I'm just not going to watch anywhere but S4 now. I've got the camera locked. That's what we're doing, because I'm not missing another one.
I would try to analyze this game in a way that makes it sound like Liquid had a game plan, and they did have a game plan, and then their game plan was immediately thrown in the garbage by them losing 2 of the 3 of their tri-lane instantly before the game even started.
Yeah.
And they just keep giving away kills. And the thing about Crystal Maiden is we've seen her before, and the reason that Crystal Maiden works so well in this particular lane is because this lane is all about damage output, and it's all about going for kills. And that's exactly what they've been doing. It would have been a completely different story if they didn't start off so far ahead because of the transition, and Liquid wanted to be against Alliance's tri-lane, which I'm like really confused as to why they would want to do that when they have a Wisp. But they wanted to, and they wanted to make sure that the Clockwork actually got something done. So now it's just like Korok just dies. Like,
yeah.
What can he do?
Yeah, no, EGM, that wasn't as if he was out of position horrendously or anything. Now Fluff and stuff's dead. 14-1. It's this is no longer Dota. This is counting. This is counting with Alliance. And yeah, they're just gonna see how high they can count before 10 minutes. Apparently, here in mid, up. They might get S4. S4. Nope, never mind. He's just gonna coil him and survive with 9 HP again, or whatever silly amount he's gonna get away with. And 15 and 16. Let's see. Can we crack 20? Loda continuing to just farm by himself. Because, I mean, like, that is just death. Like, this is hell. Don't go down to this bottom lane, Liquid. Just don't do it. Like, Bulba, yeah, this is masochism. You don't need to be down here, buddy. Okay. Just gonna spot him, frostbite him, and they're gonna be a reaction. Bulba thought about the hook. Okay, dodging it. No, that's probably the right call, Bulba. Just get out of the lane. Go to safer pastures, please. Alliance, 16-1. The current kill count, 17 kills in an 8-minute game that started with 3 before the creeps even met in the lanes. What can you say?
I don't think there's much else to say. They might be able to get a kill here, though.
Loda, using the call down, will BA. Korok finally gets on the board. Now we're gonna have, there you go, Liquid. Showing signs of life. Took the whole team, but damn it, sometimes it takes the whole team. It's all really needs to be said. Problem is Bulldog split pushing elsewhere. And now EGM gonna go ahead and back off. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that, you know, a composition like IO and CK, not one that really plays well from behind. And the Plan B's out the door, because Plan B tends to be turtle out and try to play catch up. I don't know that that's even an option anymore. It's gonna have to be Plan C, which if that just means hook up 5-man and hope for the best, that might be what they have to do.
Yeah, I don't think they really have an option other than that, honestly. They just 5-man bottom to go for 2 heroes. That's what they have to do. And the problem is that the Naga Siren is already level 6.5, and they're just gonna go on middle. They're just gonna kill TC.
Yeah. What can you do? They're so far ahead. They are literally on the verge of 10,000 gold, or excuse me, of a 10,000 gold lead before 10 minutes. It is rare enough to see a team generate that kind of a lead. 1,000 gold per minute generated lead is really rare most of the time. But to see it, like when you do see it, it's usually at 15 or 20 minutes because they've cleared every tower off the board and taken 2 or 3 straight team fights in a row, Shan, or something like that. This is nothing but deaths and 2 towers that they have generated this. Yeah, they just crossed it. They are right now, for the last 9.5 minutes, have generated in excess of 1,000 gold per minute lead. That's the complexion of this game.
Yeah, I think there's a phrase that suits the situation, I think, fairly well, and it's that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how this game has gone. I mean, the crazy part is that the heroes on Liquid still have CS, and they're actually going to initiate here.
Cog's going to cut off EGM. Really well played by Bulba. They're going to continue to run the kill count up. They want to learn how to count, too. Especially if they can find a way to count even half as high as Alliance at this point. They're going to try to push down the tower. But yeah, this is, I wasn't making a joke. I think this is the only option they have. Just hook us 5 and just hope you can continue to pick kills off and maybe take a tower or two. But, you know, again, the problem is you got a guy named Admiral Bulldog that can be anywhere he wants. He's already got his Midas up. And he's going to continue to split push as well. But here we go. Liquid setting up shop outside of the tier 1 mid. There's got S4 and Ake hanging out in the vicinity. Loda making his way down as well. Liquid, looks like they do want to go ahead and stabilize a bit more. Maybe this is just their way of trying to tell Alliance they want to have a new laning phase. They're just, yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're just going to move Korok up to the top, pretend like nothing ever happened in that bottom lane. That bottom lane was, it's like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. It was never part of the canon. We don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's better to just omit the laning phase of this game from Liquid's memory for a very, very long time. But Alliance, they're not willing to let off the gas. They're going to smoke up. They're looking for more kills. They didn't get a chance to use Song last time because EGM pretty much got stun-locked. He got hooked into the 4-second Chaos Bolt, of course, and then it's kind of game over at that point. But they don't really have to ever back. The thing with Crystal Maiden is that you want to consistently apply pressure. That support has one job, and that's to go for kills. So the way that he's building it, he's gone for the 3-1-1, so he's got the max points into Nova, and then you partner that with Riptide, which is also another relatively large AoE nuke, and they can pretty much do whatever they want, and oh, Bulba. Oh, boy.
Bulba makes it 18. 18-4, 22 kills, and a 12-minute game. At least it's somewhat more reasonable at this point. It's reached a point where 2 kills per minute is kind of in the range of reasonable. They're going to go ahead and take another tower. And Liquid can do nothing but try to make something happen at top. They've got 3 heroes up there under cover of smoke. Korok, Io, and Visage. Admiral Bulldog not going to be had quite that easily. Will bail out. And meantime, Alliance clears yet another tower. Counting in a different direction this time, only 2 outer tier towers remain for Liquid, while all of them remain for Alliance. And, you know, I almost hesitate to look. Yep, they're still on pace. 1,000 gold per minute lead still being generated. And that's actually the hard part. Usually when you do manage to hit that milestone, even in the early game, it's because of one big burst of sequence of events. To maintain that consistently for a number of minutes is something you just don't see, really.
Yeah, there's not really many games where you see this many kills in general. Like, I'm talking between both teams at 12 or 13 minutes into the game. But really nice rocket, actually, by Bulba, although Liquid can do actually nothing about this. At the very least, if they know they're here, they know they can counter pressure somewhere else. So they're going to go to the top tier 1. They're going to try to get a tower kill instead of just giving away Roshan for nothing. But the crazy part is that S4 doesn't even have to be there. He's already walking top for their counter initiation, and they even have EGM. So they're actually going to get Roshan, and they're going to stop this push at the same time, and Liquid have to back.
And Roche just about to drop. See you later, buddy. That'll be a fresh Aegis on Loda. Loda actually not far. He may have. That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, he's got his Mithril Hammer already on the way to him. So he is going to have his BKB up in very short order. He's actually going to hang on to the Aquila for the moment. I think that was his check. But, yeah, of course it was. But anyway, I mean, you're the analyst, man. Tell me, what can Liquid do other than just die over and over? Hang on, speaking of. Like, they're just blowing, like, that's an S4 puck plus Nature's Wrath that just blew up another hero. Like, just took him from 100 to 0 in a matter of 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, that'll happen. That's what happens when you're a ball. You kind of just explode. It's bad. But, I mean, in terms of what Liquid can do, I am honestly surprised they haven't just gone to the next game. Because it doesn't matter. Okay, in normal lineups, you have good team fight. You can compensate by coming back in the mid game. You can say, okay, we're going to 5 versus 5. The thing is, Liquid doesn't necessarily have better 5-on-5 team fight than Alliance at any point in the game. You're against a Gyrocopter, a Puck, and a Naga Siren. Those heroes are amazingly good team fighters, whereas you really only have the Clockwork and the CK, who are kind of considered okay team fighters. The rest of your team is meant for different things. It's either initiation, or it's meant for split pushing, which is kind of the thing with Wisp. So they don't have the lineup, I think, to come back from this kind of an early game beating. And the longer the game goes, the more room Alliance are going to have to work with. They have a Nature's Prophet who can do another core if they need it. But the thing is, Loda has an Aegis. He's going to have a BKB done incredibly soon. And when he does, they're going to have no way of doing any damage to him whatsoever. And their only physical damage dealer at this point in the game is a CK who's level 6. So, yeah, I'm a bit shocked that they're actually still playing this.
Alliance now rotating over towards that top lane. Liquid can do nothing but hook up. Dodge bullets, I reckon. Here comes the Prophet, ready to join in the fray. And, yep, 15.5 minutes in, still sticking right on that 1,000 gold per minute mark. That is 5 minutes now. More than 5 minutes they've maintained that. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen that. Now look at the coil. Gonna catch 3 out. S4 might end up dead and will, but certainly gonna be taking an honor guard with him. As Loda joins the fray, and they end up trading at least 2 for 1. In the meantime, nope, make that 3 for 1. The rest of Liquid withdrawing back under the tier 3. It's gonna be a free tier 2. And of course they glyph it, because why wouldn't you? But 27 kills, 16 minutes in. I mean, at some point, this has to be detrimental to your mindset, like, moving forward. Like, you know, again, I'm with you. If you're, if you know this is over and there really isn't much of a glimmer of hope outside of, I hope they mess up about 50 times in a row, then why subject yourself to this? Because this is not good for the not good for the mental mindset of moving forward when you still have more group stage games to play.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure myself, to be honest, but it could just be the it's not over until it's over mentality, which I can respect, but if it were me, I would have been like, I think we can just go new, because honestly, this Wisp doesn't even have boots and it's 17 minutes in. Oh, and by the way, he's dead.
Yeah, no, Wisp is dead? You don't say. Wisp has been dead from the moment the game began. I'd love to see what percentage of this game, because this is only 17 minutes in. I don't care how short the respawn timers are. I would love to see what percentage of this game at 0 and 8 that Wisp has spent off the map. Like, more time in the well or waiting to respawn compared to him actually playing Dota and hitting creeps and the such. But 23 to 5, 28 minutes in. And this is just the housing. I mean, there's really no other word for it. Alliance got ahead early, got the fight they wanted at level 1, and Liquid has never really had a chance since then.
I'm thinking of if there's any way they could potentially come back, and I'm really drawing a blank. They have no towers. It's 17 minutes into the game. The BKB's done on Gyro. He can buy another item soon if he wants to. S4 has had a blink since 9 minutes in, and now he's got an ultimate orb, and he's working his way towards a Hex. Even the support Naga Siren has a Sane, Shreds, and an Urn. Like, I realize it's very difficult to crack a base at this early juncture with the team that Alliance has, but even if they can't crack the base, you can bet that they're going to be utilizing the map on their way back to base, and they're not going to give you any breathing room to recover at all. So it's not really going to get any better.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot harder before it gets any easier, and it looks like Loda has given up on life. He's going to sacrifice his Aegis to the Dragon Gods here at the Ancient Camp to get his health back, and maybe they'll try to push after this. But regardless, Liquid's still in okay shape in terms of the group standings. If they can win the second game, then they're going to be fine. But Alliance, on the other hand, I think up until this point they were 8-0. They haven't lost a single game.
Yep.
And this makes them 9-0, I believe.
Alliance just kind of kicking it. Gonna be 5 till Roche might decide to just hang out, keep counting. The opportunity presents itself, and then duck into the Roche pit for a fresh Aegis in the game. But yeah, I mean, it's I even like turtling, like you said, there's just, I don't know. I think we've harped it to death. I'm trying to think of other things we can talk about. I mean, they're going to try to go for Bulldog, and I mean, if there is a way to get back in it, trying to do some counting of their own is really the only way. And this would be a fortuitous kill, but a Shadow Blade's there. Do they have detection? I would probably imagine. If they could afford dust at this point, I'd be shocked. Yeah, no dust, no sentries. They're lucky they even have boots on them.
Yeah, it's a hard life, especially for IX Mike. I mean, look at him. He's just a ball trying to make his way in the world, and he doesn't even have shoes. Like, not having shoes is the worst thing in the world if you're a ball.
Obviously. Mike has not had a lot of time to enjoy shoes or no shoes. He has been spending a lot of time hanging out. You know, just hanging out, sitting back from the computer. Like, yeah, I'll be there in a second, guys. Just give me approximately 15 to 25 seconds. They are going to go ahead and try to crack the tier 3 again. Not even going to wait on Roshan. There's another coil that caught a couple. Now they're going to follow it up. Down goes the tier 3. Korok wants to re-engage. A little bit of damage done. Signs of life. A pulse, perhaps. There. Yeah, hey, there you go. Finishing to pick off the CM. Double kill for S4 in the meantime. TC's about to join his buddies. S4 still going to town. That's a triple kill for S4, and S4, despite the entire game, like that's two things I've learned about this game. IX Mike dies a lot, and S4 never dies ever for any reason, even though he has 10 HP all the time. That has been the way this game has gone.
You know, the funny part about this is that you can see where Liquid's team fight and their coordination is still there, but they just gave away so much so quickly that they gave Alliance an unsurmountable advantage. Like, they actually played that pretty badly. Like, Alliance didn't execute that fight as well as they could have, and they ended up getting relatively punished. Of course, there was a buyback on the DK, but that was kind of a lesser thing. If they didn't get absolutely crushed for the first 10 minutes, I'd say they would have had a really good chance of taking this game. And that's just because of the strength of the draft, and of course, the laning phase, barring the fact that it went horribly, it could have gone pretty good for them. But we can see that there's going to be a Hex done very soon on S4. There's a freaking Halberd on EGM now, because supports just get Halberds at 21 minutes now. That's just a thing that happens. And he's level 11. I think the next time Roshan spawns is just going to be pretty much the end of the game for Liquid, and that's probably going to be in about 2 minutes or so.
Sounds about right. 21 minutes, and they're actually up in the range of, yeah, they're up there in terms of their gold per minute lead generated. Yeah, they just hit 25,000, and we are now 3 minutes ahead of schedule. They have maintained this pace of 1,000 gold lead per minute generated. They have maintained this for 12 minutes. And actually surpassed it. And not just surpassed it fractionally, surpassed it involving integers, okay? And yeah, I've never seen this. I've seen the 1,000 gold per minute threshold hit more than a few times. And I've seen it maintained for short stretches, but never for half of the game. That's literally half of the game right now. They've been sitting on that.
It's a hard life. Math is also hard for anybody who doesn't know. And yeah, that's the Hex on S4. So there's a good chance that Alliance are just going to wait the extra minute or so for Roshan to spawn. I think it's a little bit more than a minute, actually. And then probably go for the push. And once that happens, I think Liquid's time is going to have run out. I mean, what else can you say? Alliance just played this very, very well. The whole the beginning of the game, it all started because of the fact that Alliance were already in the bottom lane and they wanted to be against Liquid's tri-lane, but Liquid also wanted to be against their tri-lane, so they tried to meet them. But they had high ground advantage to do exactly what they were running into, and they're going to go for S4.
You know something? Wisp is dead. Here we go. Nature's Prophet's going to show up. Korok going to fantastic him inside of the Sprout, and went about as well as you would imagine. But Wisp is dead again. Poor Mike. 0-10. He can count pretty high now. But, yeah.
He's going to have to take off his freaking shoes soon.
He's going to have to take them off. Oh, did he actually? Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're making a funny. I was going to say I don't think he has shoes. But
not yet. One day.
Hey, we all got to have goals. All got to have goals. Roshan back up now. And this should just about be that. Bulldog with a Shadow Blade, a Force Staff, an Ultimate Orb, Phase Boots, Ake with a Mechanism and Tranks, Loda sitting on his BKB, Aquila, Helm of the Dom. He can actually afford a Reaver right now if he just wanted to go for a Satanic. Don't think he will. He'll probably just go ahead and kill Roshan and grab an Eagle Song. Nope, Demon Edge.
Rapier.
Yep, there
Rapier? Oh, no, well, it's almost.
Half of it. But, okay. Alliance should be ready to just bulldog. Yeah. Mike and TC, they glyphed it is the funny thing. Hell no. They don't want to give up a tower. Bulldog's right there, too. He's going to deny it. Oh, if he'd have denied it, it would have been the funniest thing in history. Come on, Bulldog. Oh, you robbed me of a good chuckle. 28-7. And looks like Alliance is ready to end this. So here we go. Gonna rush up the ramp. Bulldog shows back up. I'm ashamed of you, Bulldog. Ashamed of you. You don't deserve that awesome Scythe of Vice cosmetic item because you can't use it correctly, apparently. Liquid holding the fort as best they can. And Loda using Flat Cannon to zone them out. Hitting quite hard for this stage of the game. Quite hard. Now we're going to have a Scythe of Vice used on TC. Hey, Bulba's going to come in, drops the cogs. Korok got confounded by it. There's Song of the Siren. Now they're going to cancel it. Call down pretty much wasted. TC showing off a BKB of his own. And now Ake going to be caught out. And once again, some sloppy execution out of Alliance is going to prolong this game. And here comes Loda back in. What a coil. Once again, S4 just money in the absolute bank. And finally, that should be enough to bring this to an end. Bulba going to buy back. Loda with a double kill for S4, and there it is, the GG. So, a result that we knew was coming for the last, I don't know, 15 and a half minutes or so, finally goes into the books. And Liquid just got curb stomped. Just got beat down too badly early. And yeah, I actually appreciate your point a lot. Down the stretch there, you could see Liquid still certainly had their cuts. They still had their jabs and actually forced Alliance to back and wait on another Roshan. But yeah, the first 10 minutes just a smidgen too much to try to overcome.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just giving away too many kills. There's no more analytical commentary necessary. They fed a lot, and then the other team won.
There you go. From the mouths of babes. 25 minutes, 37 seconds. The official game time, 8-33. The final kill score. Game 1 goes in the books mighty fast. Liquid going to look for redemption coming up in game number 2. Alliance, though, unbeaten in the group stage so far, wants to remain that way. Going to look to make it a 2-0 sweep. We'll find out which team's up to the task. I'm AC. Draskell, of course, on the other end of the mic. We'll both be back bringing you game 2 of this best of 2 coming up next.